What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I hope you're having a wonderful day as a new survey reveals that almost 50% of people have quit Anthem, never planning to return, and heads have rolled at Bioware around their loot system and their combat balance system, and they've already got new jobs posted. Let's take a look at the absolute mess that is Anthem, but I will say, Anthem fans, I come in peace. I really do. I know early on, I spent a lot of time kind of memeing on Anthem, and I think if I'm on the outside looking in, it is absolutely meme-worthy. But I am pulling for all of you to get the game that you paid for, the game that you love, the game that you were promised. And hopefully these people that were fired or maybe added to the team at this point will help lead you to the promised land of maybe what was actually promised by EA. So a new survey, while Respawn hasn't released any data, BioWare, around Anthem, the player base in the subreddit did do a survey. You don't need to tell them that Anthem, BioWare's lambasted looter shooter, didn't so much as launch in February as it did faceplant straight into the recesses of mediocrity, is struggling to stay afloat right now. BioWare has not revealed any official stats about the game's current user base, although it did sell impressively in its first week. But a new player-run survey conducted through Reddit provides a clear yet somewhat disconcerting snapshot of Anthem's health 2 months after release. Now, I will say, after 60 days, first of all, the Reddit community is only a small portion of the gaming community and isn't always a direct representation of the overall community. In fact, in my experience in comparing Reddit community to the IRL community, they were very different. I use the Magic the Gathering subreddit community as an example. They were a strongly social justice focused group of people. They cared about things that most normal people never cared about. And so maybe that's true for the Anthem community, but it's hard to know for sure. So the survey conducted by a fellow Anthem player received over 1,000 responses, and summary of the questions and answers it contained can be found here. We can look at that. If you don't have time to run through the whole thing, here's the most cringeworthy highlights. The survey results found that the data pool of Anthem players who have participated in the survey, 50% have encountered, quote, many bugs in the playthrough so far. 56% give BioWare's current loot system a rating of 1 out of 5, and 53% have already quit the game for good. In better news, only squints, 36% of players think the future of Anthem is not looking good at all, while the rest merely are concerned. Wait, that's still bad. The survey asked people for their written responses to questions. If you went to change a thing in Anthem, what would it be? And it's pretty clear based on the word cloud. Now, if you look at the word cloud, this is something we've been talking about nonstop, right? Loot drops, loading. I mean, the overwhelming majority is loot. And it's so silly to continue to screw this up willingly, BioWare and EA. I mean, you know that you can fix a lot by giving the community the loot that they want, and you apparently continue to refuse to do that. Give them their damn loot. I mean, you gave them a half-completed game with exceedingly long loading times. You've under-delivered on almost every aspect of the game. Give them their damn loot. What is so hard about this? When you look at the questions, have you played Anthem longer than an hour? 98% of people did. Except for Anthem, how much experience have you had with looter shooters? This is pretty mixed. 50% of the people say a lot, or 75% of people are either a lot or quite a bit. So this is, of course, your most entrenched fans. Out of this selection, what loot-based games have you played? Most popular, of course, being Borderlands, Destiny, Warframe, and The Division. How many bugs have you experienced so far? 50% saying many, and 75% saying either many or a few. How many people do you actively play Anthem with? If you do play alone, leave this blank. So most people play with maybe one other person. Are you currently in a clan or guild? No, so nobody wants to play this in a clan or a guild. How would you rate the current developer feedback for Anthem? A 1 or a 1 or a 2? How would you rate the current loot system? With 56% of people giving it a 1, or call it 86% of people giving it a 1 or a 2 out of 5. How would you rate the community based on toxicity? Well, they would say, it looks like they say the community is pretty toxic, but isn't that looking inside? Isn't that looking inside your own Reddit community? I'm not sure what they're talking about. Are they talking about YouTubers that mine data from Reddit? Because I know that bothers them. Look, I'm probably the least guilty of that, but this article came through on my phone earlier, and I thought, what an interesting data set. So whoever gathered all this and whoever participated in this, I do thank you genuinely. How would you rate the current optimization for Anthem? Looks like it's about average. The cosmetics based on appearance, hardly anybody gave it a 5. How much longer do you think you play Anthem on active scale? 53% of people already quit. 53% have already quit. If you want to go to quitting soon, that means 60% of people have already left or are very close, with only 17% of people saying that they don't plan on quitting anytime soon. What are your views on the future of Anthem? 36% says looking amazing. So you still have some diehard optimists out there, and for you, I hope that you get a chance. With otherwise either looks concerning being the second biggest pie, followed by looks horrible. So either about 50%, 45% of people say it either looks horrible or it looks concerning. But it does have potential. It can be fixed. But this is the problem with modern day AAA games development, is that games always come out with potential. It's rare that you see a game that's like all the way finished, like Red Dead Redemption or even The Division, to be honest with you, although it had its problems. And it's very concerning. Now, obviously, you had these EMAA charts back in Europe, and of course, only digital. But Anthem was by far the number one. And obviously, I don't know how you really get numbers based on Origin memberships, because it's obviously free with Origin. But then we see that Electronic Arts has opened some job roles. So this is maybe a good sign for Anthem fans. A system designer, item creation and design. Then you have store and reward pipeline. And you have system designer 2, combat balance. And you have another opening, loot. Well, they're listening. Let's look at the job description just for interest. EA, a leading global interactive entertainment software company. EA delivers games, blah, blah, blah. EA and Global Interactive. Oh my God, who cares? At Bioware mission, don't care. Key responsibilities: work with a team of system designers and design leadership through all stages. Set and maintain the gold standard for game systems in a franchise. Okay, so these don't really tell you anything. You're looking for somebody with 5 at least years experience, that you've used RPG mechanics, you're comfortable collaborating with groups, you understand, you have excellent knowledge of RPGs, you have a passion for gaming. Generally, when companies are looking for people who are passionate, that translates into wanting to underpay you. That's the ultimate. Wizards of the Coast does this. Blizzard does this. They find fanboys and fangirls, and then they hire them because they'll work harder than most and they'll work for less than most. But you basically have some pretty clear issues here at BioWare. You have your systems designer, loot, you have combat balance, you have store and reward pipeline, and you have item creation. These seem like pretty big roles to add. Now, do we know for a fact that people were fired? Probably not. Do I think they're at least looking to add to it? It would look like that. Now, the people that would know the best are people in the Anthem community. And, their comments are saying, call me old-fashioned. I usually hire the necessary employees before launching the product, not after. Maybe these positions have filled and they fired people who failed to deliver. And there is some backing. Thank you for your comments, Anthem the Game subreddit too. If you do play Anthem, I would consider taking part in their community. They seem to compile a lot of good stuff. I'm going to guess that they rolled some heads. And this survey, if true, if it translates even 30-40%, if it's 30-40% accurate, to have that amount of your player base bail out already 2 months into the game. Now, I will say this. When you look at 2 months into a game, okay, if you knew that I had stopped playing Red Dead Redemption 2 after 2 months, that would be less concerning, right? I bought the game. You would assume I probably beat the game. Well, when you look at Other Dragon Quest. Oh, I got to get back to Dragon Quest. I keep forgetting to get back to Dragon Quest. I'm still a fish. You would assume that I probably beat the game. Kingdom Hearts probably beat the game. But when you look at EA's live service model, the reason that this matters is because they want people around, not for just for weeks, not for months, but even they want them for years. They want to continue to extract money from a fandom over time. And if you're already bailing after 2 months, it's not going to get. They probably haven't paid much money into the system, and EA is counting on fans, that 80-20 rule, basically, that 20% of people that really, really fall in love with the game sticking around forever and continuing to be whales. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 has done it with their online version. I have no interest in playing these online versions or live services, but I get why people do like them. I mean, Warframe does it correctly. When done correctly, they can be really interesting, really innovative, and when they have lots of DLC, that can be great for a fandom, but I find myself getting pretty tired of games. I don't know. I'm just not that guy. I'm not saying. I talk to many of you, and many of you talk about how, you've been playing. You've got 1,000 hours into a game or 500 hours into another game. I suppose you could say that for me about sports games, unfortunately. So I guess maybe I do understand it. I just never really tracked my hours. But whether or not these were terminations, I'm assuming they were. Let's hope that this is good news for the Anthem team as this slow motion car wreck continues right in front of our eyes. Hopefully they've recognized that they need to improve, although generally you don't fire until you have a replacement. But maybe it was just that bad. I mean, if they're watching those numbers and they see half of their players or 40% of their players have dropped it, I guarantee you those aren't numbers that are keeping EA happy. And EA is about that live service. They're about you pumping money in forever and ever. Those investors are about you pumping money in forever and ever. So maybe these are the right people to go, but I'm wondering why people at the top haven't gone. The CEOs, the project managers, these people. I know they did a lot with a little, but there's obviously somebody to blame for wasting 6 years and having to put this game together in just a few weeks.